What's up, y'all? You know, we don't do the back at it again with another video. No. What's up, y'all? As y'all can see from the title, today I'm gonna be giving you my biggest tips for starter locks. And so that you know I am qualified on the subject, I'm gonna take my bun down so you can see these luscious, flourishing locks. I'm just playing. No, but I am gonna take it down before I get a headache. All right, so I currently have these twists in. I just got a retwist. I'm hating them because it's giving me a lot of shrinkage and it sucks, but it is what it is. I'm gonna take them out when I take them out. I'm trying to make it another week. Anyway, this is not what the video is about, and I think it's tilted. All right, so as y'all can see, I feel like I need to start over. I'm not gonna start over. As y'all can see from the title, I'm gonna be giving y'all my biggest tips for starter locks. I have been locked as of last month. I hit 5 years, so I would say that I'm pretty well knowledgeable on the subject. And I've done this video before and you guys have liked the tips that I gave, but I think I have a few more different things to say this time because it's been longer. So I would say my biggest first tip for locks, and I'm not going to be repetitive and say the first thing I always say, I am switching it up. My biggest tips for starter locks is to ensure that when you are starting them, you have started at the size that you wanted and you're not just letting your loctician or whoever's putting them in decide for you what size you want your locks. I would say find some type of a photo somewhere and bring that as a reference for what you want, or so that you know what type of size you want, because I'm noticing in my comments a lot of y'all are coming to me saying, well, I started my locks, they're too big or they're too small, I don't like them anymore, what do I do? Well, if that does happen, you should take them out before they lock. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck with that size and there's nothing you can do about it unless you wanna comb the locks out later down the line, have to take all these weeks to combing them out. Combing locks out is not easy, so it's best to get it right the first time. I will say, know that when you start your locks, I guess this is my second thing, know that when you start your locks, the size they are as starter locks is not the size they will be when they are mature. Your locks are a lot smaller as starter locks than they will be when they're mature. They start to go through this process of budding where they expand and they get bigger, and it will not be the same size. So if you've started your locks and you're worried that they're too small, give it a little bit of time and see how your hair will change, because it will start budding and your hair will change. I would say for my next tip is to wet your hair. Do not think that just because you have locks means you can let your hair be dry and brittle and nasty and dirty. You still have to wash your hair. Locks are not a no maintenance style. They still require maintenance. They just require less maintenance. Wet your hair because your hair requires moisture. Do not just place oil on your hair and think you're moisturizing it. Oil locks in whatever's already there. So if you put oil on dry hair, it's gonna lock in the dryness of that hair. If you put oil on wet hair that you've moisturized with a little bit of water and then you put oil on it, it's gonna lock in the moisture from the water. But don't do that and then go put on a bonnet and think you're gonna sleep with moist hair. No, your hair will get mildewy and it will be funky the next day. Make sure you're wetting them for that reason, but also because the more you wet your locks, the quicker they will lock. I know a lot of people like to make a saltwater solution and spray that on their hair because they say that it aids that. Me personally, I wouldn't be doing that because salt water can dry the hair out just like it dries the skin out. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. My next thing is find you a bonnet. This is the one that I always say, find you a bonnet, not a do-rag. Find a bonnet that you're going to sleep with, that you're going to wear whenever you're not doing anything, so that your hair is not picking up lint in that early stages, so that it's not breaking off in the early stages. The reason why I say do not start using a do-rag on, and I don't think I've said this before, but do not think you're gonna use a do-rag on starter locks, because you will end up with flat locks. Have y'all ever seen those people whose locks are not cylindrical at all? They're just flat and they look dirty. That's how that happens. Using a do-rag and it's flattening the locks out while they're still in that forming stage will cause them to be flat. You can use a do-rag when you get later in on your journey, because that's when I use it for, if my hair's a mess, I'll use that to lay my hair down a little bit. But outside of that, you have no business using a do-rag early on. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. My next tip for starter locks, I would say, is to make sure that you're being patient. And I feel like I've said this, but when I first started my locks, I thought they were ugly. I thought I looked like a boy. People were criticizing me. It was a mess. But give it time. I saw somebody in my comments very recently, I think yesterday or the other day, who was saying they started their locks and they feel very masculine and they feel ugly. And that is very normal. That's something that it just comes with the journey. That's the beginning stages. that's the ugly phase, where you're just gonna feel ugly. Like, I think we kind of all go through. I know everybody's like, there is no ugly stage with the logs, you're always beautiful. Yeah, but everybody doesn't always feel that way, and that's okay. Y'all hear the birds, they want to be in the video, I guess. Anyway, the next tip for starter locks, see, I didn't think this through, I'm just kind of organically giving y'all tips. I would say, I want to give y'all something that I wish I knew early on. Okay, don't be using those cuffs, the lock cuffs and the lock jewelry and the beads and all those things that are really cute and pretty. No, not in the beginning, because they will hinder your locking stages, but they will also cause ripping of the hair. That stuff snags on your hair. That's why y'all very rarely see me even use that on my hair. But you want to avoid that. I know you're excited, you like the locks, but you're poking holes in them for some of those rings and stuff. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10. Leave it alone. The next thing, and I did a dedicated video, is that even though you feel like your locks are ugly, or you feel like they're not as long as you want them to be, blase, do not go and get a protective style like braids and think that your locks are going to survive them. Those braids are going to compact your locks. They're going to get damaged. They're going to be bent in ways they cannot come back from. They will not be able to breathe, which means they will not be able to bud. They will not be able to flourish. Don't do it. Leave it alone. If you feel ugly, go get a scarf and do head wraps. If you feel ugly, do your makeup, or if you're a dude, get dressed up, get cute. Like, make yourself feel better, but don't resort to taking the shortcut of it. I'm not saying it's a shortcut, but it kind of is. But I know y'all hate when I use that word, but it kind of is. Don't do that. Let your locks do what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? A plant can't grow in the dark. It's being covered up. Your hair cannot grow and flourish in that covered up moldy braids, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be offensive though, because y'all be kind of offended. All right, the next thing I would say for starter locks is not to wash them too early. See, and I know a lot of people think locks are a dirty style. They're not. But during the locking phase, you have to watch how often you're washing those locks, because early on they will unravel. I didn't wash my locks for the first time when I locked them. I think it was 3 months. About 3 or 4 months. So before you get the locks put in, this is my biggest tip. Before you get the locks put in, wash your hair very well. Do a clarifying shampoo. Make sure you get in that scalp, because it's going to be rough. It gets itchy during the locking phase. And if you do get itchy, and here's another really good tip, is go get you some rose water and spray that and rub it onto your scalp. Put it on your hands and rub it onto your scalp. You can also spray the rose water on the locks to aid the locking process. But yeah, y'all, those are really my biggest tips for right now. I just wanted to come in and give y'all a shout out, do a little quick video. I have some good content coming up. Y'all know I am doing a rating my subscribers locks video. So if you would like to be featured in that, send me a picture of your locks to my Instagram, and also let me know how long you've been locked and what you rate your own locks. My Instagram is TheRealRani, TheRealRanii, 3 eyes. And you can go ahead and DM me there. If it tells you that you cannot send more messages until I accept the request, I will go ahead and accept the request, of course, so that y'all can send the rest of those. I want to have quite a few for this video, so go ahead and send those submissions in. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. So thank you for watching, all that good stuff, and bye. Mwah.